Hi, this is group number 5. Project description was basically that we had to take the educational reformers and positive thinkers of education and apply those to creating and designing a school. We took project-based learning and creative thinking and designed our school. Our group title is No Limits. It consists of our project presenters are Desiree Harned, Karen Reinhardt, and Denise Lewis. And we're going to start with me, Desiree Harned, and our school is called No Limit School. First off, we centered around certain words, knowledge, project-based, teachers, education, ever-evolving, using modern thinking, which leads us to our vision statement for our school. Our vision is at No Limits is to empower student learning through creative project-based learning and to enhance and inspire students through technology use. Pretty self-explanatory. We want to make sure that students are getting project-based learning. We want to make sure that you understand the importance of vision statements. Make sure that your stakeholders can easily remember this. Make it short and sweet, 1 to 2 sentences. Suggestions say 1 sentence alone. Just make sure that it involves those key ideas, values, and beliefs. This leads us to our mission statement. We will provide whole learning through project-based, creative-centered group interaction and technology classrooms and lessons. We will collaboratively work with students to incorporate all aspects of the modern world while learning the basics to become productive citizens. It is our job to efficiently engineer multimedia-based services to stay pertinent in tomorrow's world, and this is in regards to the learner. Your mission statement is important because it guides how you do day-to-day operations. It is your goals of the organization or our school, basically. These guidelines are easy to follow. Your mission statement's a little bit longer than your vision statement. It's typically 3 to 5 sentences, and it helps you execute the purpose of your organization in the appropriate manner. Next, you're going to see our school campus. This design is made up of 3 large buildings. Our classroom building and office to the right. It is a 2-story building. Our cafeteria and auditorium sort of in the middle. Our learning lab building, which is the other L-shaped, that's where our reading labs, math, science labs, orchestra, and such like that. In the middle, you're going to see an eating area, kind of like a garden area. We also have learning garden and greenhouse and a tool shed. To the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see an amphitheater, a gazebo, and to the right-hand bottom corner, you see our playground area and patio. As you can see, it's a flowing system of campus interconnected buildings with sidewalks, and those are overhung sidewalks so that, elements with the weather and such are making sure we're taking care of our students. This is our 2-story main building. We have 18 classrooms between the 2 stories. Obviously, you can see bathroom areas, elevator, 2 stairwells for emergencies. Our office is safe and secure with doors exiting from the office to get to the students. But on the second area, I want you to note the learning areas, or on the second level, the learning areas. The 2 groups of student circle group areas so students can break away from the classroom to do their project-based learning. This next slide is of the classroom, sorry about that, of a basic classroom diagram. As you can see, grouped tables, technology grouped right there on the right-hand side. Those are our computers. Bookshelves. The teacher's desk is at the bottom. That is the facilitator. It's not an authoritative desk banner. It's more just so that she can have her stuff or his or her stuff in an area. And it's open to the teacher to design the classroom in the best way for the students to learn in this type of atmosphere. Next, our expectations of teachers. We want to make sure they have access to technology, they have a safe and secure learning environment. Teachers constantly are in professional development for modern technologies and other areas, and that they encourage students and guide them. They are facilitators, not authoritative dictators of education. Our expectations of learners at our No Limit School is to inquire, seek, and investigate, to make sure that learners are constantly doing those things, to respect other learners and teachers, to encourage other learners, make sure that they become facilitators of their own learning and helping others learn. use their curiosity to learn more, and to never stop wondering or to cease to amaze themselves. Next, I want to talk about the expectations of parents. This is we want parents to make sure they're asking any and all of their questions and getting those answers, to encourage their learners and to make sure that they encourage other learners as well, and for them to continue their own learning. Help and to guide, facilitate learning, just like our teachers are not authoritative dictatorships, in their classrooms and with their educational philosophies, but they are facilitating learning at home as parents. To seek any and all information. If we do not have it at our school, please seek other, ways of means of information and bring that back to share with others. And when in doubt, we are here to help. And this leads to school policies. We have 4 basic policies here to share with you. Learning facilities to be kept clean and secure. Students have access to all of the learning facilities during learning hours, or if there are adults present, and students may use any area on the campus grounds to learn. It's not limited to how they learn or where they learn. Our curriculum, we don't have a set curriculum for No Limits, but they have access to any and all curriculum that's out there. As long as it's inquiry-based, project-based, technology-based, or so forth, each teacher has the ability to make sure that as long as they are teaching the standards and providing those lessons, then they are doing what they can with the curriculum. Next, professional development. All faculty and staff will attend professional development 4 times a year, and this is in regards to new standards, methods, technology, curriculum, theories, or philosophies in reference to our school, grade level, subject area that they are teaching, or even in the learning labs. And last, we want to share with you health and wellness. Students will regularly partake in some kind of physical activity or wellness participation. This is in regards to the environment, body movement, incorporation into weekly activities, their food nutrition programs, healthy body, and also with their mental health, making sure stress and anxiety is reduced as much as possible in the learning atmosphere. So that is our No Limit School presentation as far as the overall encompassing part. And now we're going to hand it over to Karen Reinhardt.
Integrating Standards and Reform for Instruction at No Limit School, a refocused direction for science instruction. The direction of education seems to be ever-changing. Without even a blink of the eye, standards are ushered in without substantial evidence they will better our students. What we are sure of is that our students need skills that will carry them into a job market that hasn't been defined yet. Instruction as we know it does little to encourage higher level thinking, engage students in the now prescribed content, or satisfy the desire of students to use the technology available to them. The program I will share with you is designed to address science content for 3rd graders at No Limit School while incorporating the above-mentioned aspects that we are currently missing in instruction. Merriam-Webster defines refocus as to change the emphasis or direction of something. Sir Ken Robinson believes that, given the challenges we face, education doesn't need to be reformed, it needs to be transformed. I will demonstrate how 3rd grade science content can be addressed, specifically content about weather and climate, to answer the guiding question: why should we measure aspects of weather and climate? We will answer this question by integrating Common Core state standards with partnering and project-based learning. The instruction incorporates next-generation science standards for 3rd grade, cross-cuts 3rd grade standards for ELA and math, and addresses primary standards for technology. You can see specifically that students will receive core content for science, reading, writing, math, and technology. As mentioned, this instruction will emphasize Prensky's philosophy of partnering in the classroom. Prensky feels that students should be allowed to focus on the parts of learning that they do best, and teachers should focus on the parts of learning they do best. The roles of the teacher in this program are to develop guiding questions using Common Core state standards, to use their talents to create rubrics for assessment. Teachers will determine what nouns will be used during the process of learning, Teachers will exercise their roles as coaches and guides to the students as they develop new skills. And teachers shall discuss and evaluate the results of the instruction. The student roles in this program include: they will be expert users of technology. Students will partner as thinkers and sense makers. Students will self-teach or drive the instruction. Students will be world changers, and they will learn to master skills and verbs. As noted earlier, this program utilizes project-based learning. The students will drive the instruction through the process of constructing a project. This aspect has two facets. The first is through participation in a collaborative project with NASA and its Global Precipitation Measurement mission. Through this citizen science project, data will be collected, organized, and analyzed for the purpose of assisting NASA in monitoring global precipitation. Students will monitor precipitation by the instrumentation provided by the mission. Then take the data they collect and share it through the Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network website. This will provide the students an opportunity to take in real-world learning and have a global impact by contributing to the NASA mission. The second aspect of the project-based learning application of our program at No Limit School is for the students to impact the school community as they utilize the weather data to construct PSAs. Here is an example of a weather PSA our students produce. As you can see, the students will be able to take on the teaching role as they teach other students about weather patterns, safety, and how weather impacts the community. As an educator, author, and reformer, Michael Fullen refers to project-based learning as deep learning tasks. He believes that deep learning tasks refocus learning practices into more engaging and challenging experiences made possible by technology, afford students real-world learning beyond the classroom, and allow them to develop and assess key skills he calls the 6 C's: character education, citizenship, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. Deep learning tasks allow a refocus from the one-dimensional mastery of content to the intentional development of students' skills in learning, creativity, and the provident implementation of their learning. This aligns with Robinson's belief we need to transform education so that children can develop creativity that is so desperately lacking in our current format of education. The combination of core content, partnering, and project-based learning provides rigor to the instruction and has deep connections to higher level thinking. At each category of the CREATE framework, the program addresses higher level thinking at levels 4 and/or 5. First, the cognitive complexity of the program is addressed at level 4, integrating, and 5, specializing. Likewise, students will be organizing data, checking the information of others, and planning the logistics of the Global Precipitation Measurement mission. Secondly, the real-world learning of the program also addresses higher-level thinking at levels 4 and 5. The students will integrate information for the Global Precipitation Measurement mission and specialize as they collaborate with experts at NASA. Thirdly, student engagement with the content occurs at level 4, integrate, as students partner with the teacher to define the content, process, and product, as well as use the inquiry-based approach for answering the guiding questions. Lastly, technology will be utilized at level 4, integrating, and 5, specializing. Technology is essential for both facets of project completion described earlier. Students will use technology to solve authentic problems directly related to the global precipitation measurement mission. Similar to the cognitive complexity domain, students will organize, check, and plan, but do so using technology. As we well know, the topic of education and its process are praised, debated, analyzed, researched, reformed, transformed, and changed. Rather than resorting to drastic measures that are often abandoned before time has had an opportunity to demonstrate ineffectiveness, we should pause and refocus the direction of public education. As educators, we claim great responsibility to the students we teach and our ability to equip them for the future. While content standards may prove valuable as a springboard from which to create guiding questions, students can have more rigorous and personalized learning when the standards are combined with partnering and project-based learning. This allows the student to embark on a deeper level of learning and eventual mastery of skill sets necessary for future employment and global contribution. I hope this presentation has demonstrated how valuable this integration can be in furthering the integrity of public education at No Limit School. Thank you for your attention.
Hello everyone, this is Denise Lewis, and my portion of the project was to look at how our school would implement Common Core along with the reform ideas of some of the folks that we have been learning about, like Mark Prensky and Yang Zhao. So my portion talks about TED Talks in the English Language Arts classroom. Now, we've worked a lot with TED Talks in our LME classes, and so I thought this would be a great way to incorporate it into what that might look like in the classroom and how that also uses reform standards and Common Core. So let's get started with the TED Talk here, or not the TED Talk, but our lesson on using a TED Talk. So our guiding question would be, what matters to you? That would be the basic assignment that we would give the students. And after viewing several TED Talks and participating in class discussion, students will create their own TED Talks and deliver them in a form of a class of their peers while being recorded, and then upload their talks to the TEDx Classroom project on the YouTube channel. And so basically, this is an open question, and students can just choose what matters most to them, do the research, and then come up with their own TED Talk. Now, for Common Core standards, this uses several things. It uses these three standards in particular. These are upper high school level standards. They would need to present information, findings, and supporting evidence, conveying a clear and distinct perspective such that listeners can follow the line of reasoning. Alternative or opposing perspectives are addressed, and the organization, development, substance, and style are appropriate to purpose, audience, and a range of formal and informal tasks. It also incorporates the standard that they need to make strategic use of digital media, e.g., textual, graphical, audio, visual, and interactive elements in presentations to enhance understanding of finding, reasoning, and evidence, and to add interest. So not only are they being recorded, but the students also need to bring in their own text and graphics and audio and visual and interactive elements to their TED Talk to use during their presentation, and adapt speech to a variety of contexts and tasks, demonstrating a command of formal English when indicated or appropriate. Now, the create standards that we are going to use are going to be For the cognitive complexity, we're going to use a level 5 specializing because the students are generating their own question, or they're given a prompt question, but beyond that, what matters to you, they have to kind of create their own question. And the content and how they're going to generate it, how they're going to plan it, how they're going to produce it, they are in control of all of that. And this requires complex thinking like a content expert, just like a TED Talk expert. And so then we move on to real world, and that's a level 4 integrating because the learning emphasizes and impacts the classroom, the school, or community, and the learning is integrated across subject areas. So what matters to them could be something in the science field, the technology field, it could be something engineering, it could be a social issue. So there's many things that they might come up with as a subject area. For engagement, it's a level 5 specializing because the students are going to initiate their own inquiry-based learning project through immersion, full implementation from topic to solution, and the students are going to initiate appropriate collaborations pertaining to their project. And for technology integration, this is a level 4 integrating because the student technology use is embedded in content and essential to the project completion, and it promotes collaboration among students in partnership with the teacher, and it helps them to solve authentic problems at the analyze, evaluate, or create levels. So whatever matters to them, and we'll see in just a minute, not only do they have to explain what matters to them, but they have to give a compelling argument, and then they need to kind of take that a little bit farther and present a solution or compel other students to take action. Now, this was inspired by Mark Prensky. He's one of the people that I felt did a really great job of explaining the inspiration behind this. So I have a quote from him. It's a video quote, and I'm going to play that now.
The things that I would like educators to understand about our world today is that we live in a new context. The biggest things technologically that are making a difference are the network and the fact that now people are connected, and we're just learning how to do that. Facebook is just the very beginning of people understanding that they have a particular home and a node on the network and connect with other people, but that's going to expand in the lifetime of these kids. Video is also really important because it's become a medium that people start to communicate in, and it's even in many cases supplanting writing in particular areas as the way, the primary means. So we need to make sure that our kids are good at using that medium as a way to communicate. There are a number of parental concerns that really we ought to address in a very good, responsible way. One is about screen time. And my answer to that is, as parents, of course, we want to balance what our kids do and give them exposure, but we live in a screen age. And just as we don't talk about how much book time do you have and how much food time do you have, we say don't do any of those things in excess and in imbalance, but each person is going to have to find what works for him or her. It's very important that people understand that technology is not about stuff. We tend to think of it as being about iPads and being about other things that it really isn't. It's about what's behind those things and what we use it for. Technology is an extension of our thinking. It's an extension of our brain. And we can't turn it off. We live in a time when it is now part of us, and we have to learn to adapt and to integrate it and become symbiotic with technology.
All right, so now moving on, the other reformer that inspired this project was Yang Zhao. And here's a quote from our World Class Learners book. Creating a work that matters. Matter to the students and to the potential customers, not necessarily to the prescribed standards or curriculum. The works do not have to be one end product like a piece of art, a book, or a video. They can be a service or a program. Another quote was, "The product-oriented learning experiences mimic a typical entrepreneurial activity." And many of the reformers are entrepreneurs themselves, so I feel like this project is a really great way to emulate the things that Yang Zhao and Mark Prensky talked about. Now, so here's an example of a student-produced TED Talk. This was uploaded from TEDx Classroom Project, and this is Derek and his TED Talk on "Are We Killing Our Oceans?" So I'm going to give you just an example here of what this would look like as an end product. Sorry, let's try that again.
Now I want all of y'all to imagine the most beautiful ocean you've ever seen. Imagine it and close your eyes for a second. Imagine yourself walking towards the beach. No, actually, you're running towards it. Your life depends on it. If you don't get there soon enough, you're going to be eaten, taken away, or killed. But imagine yourself 1/100th of your current size. Every bottle laying on the beach is twice your size. Every wrapper a mountain. Imagine how much harder it would be to get to the beach in this situation. Now open your eyes. This is the life of a hatchling sea turtle on a polluted beach in the Galapagos. This is right after a party. Sea turtles, as soon as they hatch, are instinctively going towards the ocean, trying to get there as fast as they can. Only 20% of them make it to the ocean, because so many predators and so much pollution is on the beach. However, only 2% make it to adulthood. Now you may ask why only 2% make it to adulthood. You may think disease, or predators, or anything you can think of an ocean creature. But the truth is, the #1 cause of death in sea turtles is pollution. And when you really think about conservation of the ocean, it's really 90% of our planet. 90% of the inhabitants of this planet are in the ocean. And whenever you look at coral reefs, 25% of the life in that ocean lives there. Due to industrialization over the past 300 years, coral reefs have been decreasing in size dramatically, taking away lives of all these countless creatures. 25% of the ocean is dying. Take a look at this coral reef in the Bahamas. Half of its mass has been destroyed due to cruise ships, overfishing, and scraping of the seafloor, and along with it, half of the creatures that live there. Take an example for the mola mola. Jellyfish need to be kept in control. They reproduce very rapidly. And to tell you the truth, eating 100 jellyfish only affords you 2 calories. So if mola molas go extinct and jellyfish take over the ocean, I'm pretty sure you'd have to eat 100,000 jellyfish a day to sustain a 2,000 calorie diet. And that's not very practical. Look at the manatee, the hippo of the ocean, if you want to call it. These manatees are one of the most endangered species on the planet. And the #1 cause of their death is pollution in the sea kelp and the seagrass that they eat. Not the cruise ships that hit them. 50 out of 100 manatees die because of pollution. When you see this image, how does it make you feel? Whale being held up in a net like it's a toy? How does that make you feel, seeing one of the largest, most magnificent creatures on the planet held up in a net? Japanese whaling is one of the most profitable industries in the entire world. But Japanese whalers don't do it to save the ocean, to help the economy. They do it to make a quick buck. You do it illegally, and then they sell all the resources of the whale to make a quick buck. That's not right. The ecology of the ocean is at stake. Take the recent oil spill that just happened in the Gulf of Mexico. 42,000 gallons of oil were being released into the ocean every day during this oil spill. And the most captivating thing about the oil spill is that we had no plan in place if that oil spill ever did spill. We had no plan in place if it actually exploded, like it did. and we still haven't found out a way to get rid of all this oil. This is not something that's just going to stop tomorrow, or the oil's not just going to magically disappear. It's going to destroy the wildlife and the ecology of the Gulf for many years to come, maybe even destroying the fishing industry for Louisiana, Mississippi, and maybe Texas. When you see this decrepit sea otter, think of all the life that it eats. It eats the oysters, it eats some fish. But guess what? What happens when all of that's destroyed? Even if the otter itself doesn't die, all of its life around it dies, and therefore it cannot have anything to eat, and it dies as well. The one thing I want you to take from this talk is that ocean conservation is now. It's not yesterday. It's not a week from now. It's not 2 months from now, not 2 years from now, not 20 years from now. It is now. If we don't save 90% of our planet, if the ocean were to just disappear right now, our planet and life on Earth would disappear. The origin of our species comes from the ocean. Don't you think it's time we save it? My last point, when you're looking out on the ocean, its mystery, its power, its grace, and its current state of suffering, there's one question that I'd like all of you to think about. How will you change the world? Thank you.
And that concludes my portion of the project on how TED Talks in the English language classroom can blend Common Core standards with educational reform.